Well, it's important to acknowledge, first of all, that my paper was published in a special issue and was shaped in part by the wider framing of that issue. Eric Shepherd and colleagues, as editors of the special issue on urban revolutions in the age of global urbanism, set out three distinct ways of thinking about what they term urban revolutions. First are revolutions from above, by which they mean top-down, neoliberal global urbanism associated with city elites and mainstream international experts of various kinds. Second are revolutions from below, referring to efforts at confronting, contesting, or subverting mainstream global urbanism. And third are conceptual revolutions, in particular, continued commitment to post-colonializing academic urban studies, unsettling the Euro-American centeredness of much of the conceptualization in our transdisciplinary field. Now, the special issue editors hoped, I think, that I would specifically address urban revolutions from above. But I ended up speaking to all three of their senses of urban revolution in my article on antecedent cities and interreferencing effects. So what does that wordy title mean? Simply put, ways in which cities are likened to and often remade through reference to prior experiences elsewhere. Clearly, this can be applied very readily to aspects of urban revolution from above, such as when urban elites seek to emulate some aspect of a highly ranked global city or livable city, or when they cast such existing cities in aspirational terms so as to legitimize their own interests. But equally, there are cases of urban antecedents in efforts to contest neoliberal urban developments. An example I cite in the paper is from the Indonesian city of Surabaya. There, riverbank dwellers, threatened with eviction, drew upon repertoires of resistance that had been employed successfully by urban communities facing similar threats in Thailand. And of course, the work of academic urbanists too is often bound up in establishing or maintaining, as well as critiquing, spatio-temporal imaginings of urban transformation, through efforts to establish certain cities as historically prototypical, through forms of comparison with antecedent urban elsewheres, or through examining the constitutive travels of urban policies or models. My paper makes use of the notion of urban antecedents to try to look slightly differently at some of the limits and possibilities of contemporary urban studies. I identify a wide range of urban antecedents in various strands of my own research, from historical work on the Malay community in Liverpool to examination of urban policy mobilities in contemporary Southeast Asia. And it's work on urban policy mobilities that comes to look most different through my paper. On the one hand, emerging as it does from critical political economy perspectives, the burgeoning policy mobilities literature is overwhelmingly concerned with neoliberalization from above. Proponents of post-colonial approaches to urban studies have been among the critics of that focus, reminding us that the mobility of urban plans and policies both preceded and exceed neoliberalism. On the other hand, the way in which policy mobilities scholarship often traces what Jane M. Jacobs has referred to as the backstories of mobile urban policies, the excavation of antecedents, if you like, is, I argue, well attuned to post-colonial urban studies agendas. Rather than presuming Euro-American origins of urban innovation, for example, critical policy mobilities work tracing back constitutive relational geographies suggests a methodological openness to other spatio-temporal mappings. And this leads on to a wider final claim that I make in the paper about the post-colonializing possibilities of examining urban antecedents in policy and other more than academic worlds. Namely, that these urban worlds are often much less Western-centered than our academic studies of them.